Talk to me about ADHD.
Okay.
Because it's something that, you mentioned you wanted to talk about, something I haven't talked about too much. Is it a bug or a feature? Is it a superpower?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting.
And then also, how does it cross over to a lot of successful people we see out there, like the Elon Musks of the world?
Right. So this is something I speak about kind of publicly. I don't want to make it my public persona entirely, but I think it's like the speech impediment thing or getting over the shyness on stage. I think it's worth sharing with people because if someone watching this can relate, maybe they can do something about it, and maybe they can do something about it earlier than I did something about it. So I grew up in the 70s, okay, before the internet and all this other stuff, and I do have ADHD, and it happened at a point where it wasn't widely known, and it manifested itself as Gordon can't focus or he's not motivated or all this other stuff. And so I got all this negative messaging growing up, and I raw dogged it, or whatever the expression is, all the way through law school. Okay, and past the bar with ADHD, but with huge amounts of pain and focus and adrenaline burnout and cortisol and
just brute forced it through.
I brute forced it through, but I brute forced it through in a way that exacted a toll. Okay, in the moment and long term. Okay, and I think when you're younger, you can simulate dopamine and serotonin with adrenaline and cortisol, but eventually you burn out those glands, and you can't stress yourself out anymore, and you're just like, ugh. So post law school, I was able to get finally, as an adult, a diagnosis, 35 years in. And it's since become, it's challenging to get medication in the Middle East. So that's one issue that I think maybe they need to work on. Just because, they're used to physical issues, they're not used to mental issues, but I think they're getting a little bit better there. Nowhere's perfect. But now I'd say it's a blend of bug and feature. Okay, so what are the bugs? There is, if something's not novel, it's going to sound funny considering what I'm doing with Tech Tuesdays. If something's not novel, if something's novel and it's shiny, you get all engaged with it. As soon as it becomes regular or you're used to it, your dopamine drops because the novelty factor's down, and it's very hard to initiate action and maintain action. Mm-hmm. So new workout routine, great, exciting, then you lose interest. Or new language, new hobby. It happens again and again and again. It can be very disheartening. With the right medication and the right meditation and a few other things, you can compensate for that or mask it or deal with it. I think all this stuff is manageable. There's an impulse thing that sometimes, ADHD shows up differently in different people. There's impulse control. There's attentive issues. Every ADHD case is its own little special flower. I think as you get older and you get to know yourself and certain stories repeat over and over again, you have to be a little bit blind not to eventually realize a pattern. And once, I know you're into meditation and yoga, but once you ruminate on it, you kind of get to know yourself. You can kind of intercept some of these things and moderate them.
Okay. How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.
Okay, what's good about ADHD, I think ADHD, the flip side of impulsiveness, which can get you in trouble, is audaciousness. It's bravery. Yeah. It's saying what's on your mind and not having fear. It's, being comfortable, that part I like. It's like, who starts Tech Tuesdays in the middle of summer, not knowing anyone here? I mean, of course I know people. I did. Yeah. I have the impulse. The impulse took me. Okay, who goes to Dubai for no reason? I do. Okay, who goes to Ukraine in the middle of war? I do. Okay, it's like, sometimes I just say F it, where other people wouldn't. And I've learned to temper that and direct it and not go too crazy with it. But if that little spider sense tells me something, I listen to my spider sense, because that spider sense is pretty good. And it allows for a lot of stuff. ADHD is good because it allows for lateral and creative thinking. Now why does it? This wandering mind thing is a little bit of the hunter brain. Okay, like there's an evolutionary theory of it that there's the ones who stayed at home and were farmers. They don't have ADHD. They can sit at home for the whole season and make their crop. The hunters and the guardians have to go out, and they have to be aware that the lion's over there. They can't get too focused with the berry in front of them. Right, so that gives you a lot of intuition. You can tell when people are lying. You can read a room. You can see when somebody's acting slightly differently. Or you can also, because you don't have complete inhibition control, your mind will make connections in disparate areas that other people wouldn't make, and you come off as very creative. Okay, you can be. It's sometimes like the lack of a moat between different parts of your brain lets it slosh around. It's sometimes messy, but sometimes it comes up with a new, beautiful, drink or whatever, however you want to say it.
Do you have to worry about not being aware of human emotions? Does that come along with that?
There is a little bit of. That's a great question. I'll say it again. Sure, as a undiagnosed youth or young person with ADHD, sure, it's a danger.
You could offend people and not be.
You can be impulsive with your language.
Right.
You can seek dopamine by annoying others. That's a real thing. You can pick fights because it's stimulating.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of lack of empathy too.
Well, it's funny. ADHD people usually have a strong justice sense.
Interesting.
Okay, that we're very sensitive to injustice.
Because this is right, and I don't care about your feelings per se. This is more right, and that overrides.
Or I will get offended on someone else's. It's common. You can Google it and see it. You have a very strong truth sense. Like untruth is annoying. Okay, and injustice is inflammatory. Okay, and if you're nice to someone and they end up being mean to you for no reason, you get extremely pissed off. Not just the normal pissed off. So a lot of crusaders and fighters have that justice sense, and maybe they're a little bit of ADHD. The thing is, you maybe can get too involved with that stuff and not maintain balance. Everything in life is flow, and everything in life is balance, and everything in life is adjusting for the current situation and not having guidelines and not rules. So I think hopefully that's as you get older and you watch yourself and you watch other people, you gain a little bit of distance and a little bit of equanimity and temperance on this stuff. But it never totally goes away, and I'm not sure I want it to totally go away, because it is kind of fun. I mean, the getting on stage and enjoying it, is and doing a kind of like self-vindication reversal of the social anxiety of younger. I don't know if that would still scratch my itch if I didn't have ADHD, but it does scratch an itch now. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a reversal of being the oddball out as a kid. So I think it's you mentioned there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are successful with it. But there's a lot of people who aren't successful with it, and it's a lifelong affliction if it's not managed.
Right.
So I don't want to sugarcoat it. I think the trick with it is and there's a lot of negative stereotypes about it. Okay, there's things like, oh, it's overdiagnosed, or let boys be boys, or all this other stuff. But that kind of goes out the window when you see the brain scans and you see the different brain structures associated with it. No one says, oh, let schizophrenics be schizophrenics. Right. Okay, when you actually see that the prefrontal cortex is differently developed in ADHD people, kind of the let boys be boys thing go out the window. You can say, no, Tommy's different. Right. We can see the issue there. I think the thing with ADHD is you need to have it diagnosed. You need to have it treated. You need to be gentle with yourself, but you need to maintain responsibility for your life. Even if you lose your legs, you still are responsible for your life. You can, whatever happens, you are responsible for you. No one's coming to save you. Okay, but part of taking responsibility for yourself is accurately understanding your situation so that you can take responsibility for what's going on. So I think with all this mental stuff, it's important to share it with the world and own it and work with it.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.